Welcome to another episode of Just a Girl with a Sword. We are continuing with our Lent series, but from quarantine. That's right, this episode is recorded in my house. Okay, it doesn't make much of a difference. I usually record most of my episodes in my house. It just happens to be a time of quarantine. And we have been going through the importance of Lent, things that we should do in Lent. The last episode was about surrendering to God. And today, I'd like to talk about the names of God. As we are surrendering to God, as we are seeking to commune with God in a deeper way, in a more intimate fashion this season of Lent, as much as we're in quarantine and we are trying to wash our hands and keep ourselves safe from the COVID-19 virus that is around us. As we seek God, do you know who God is? When you read the Bible, do you see different names of God? Because God reveals himself to us through these names. And so this week and next week, I will look at two names of God that we like using a lot in our prayers, in our sermons. We hear them a lot. So the first one, the one that I'm going to deal with today, is Jehovah Jireh. That's right, Jehovah Jireh. And I know that you know that it means our provider, God our provider. But do you know where it comes from in the Bible? So the name Jehovah Jireh comes from the book of Genesis, chapter 22. It's a story of Abraham. So God wants to test Abraham's faith to see if Abraham has placed God as number one in his heart. And so he tells Abraham, Abraham, take your son Isaac, that son who you love so much, and go and sacrifice him to me on the mountain. The Bible records early the next morning, Abraham wakes up, he goes take Isaac and takes some wood for the offering and knife and whatever is required, and he climbs up the mountain. And it reaches a certain point, and he makes the servants who had accompanied him to remain there, and he proceeds to the top of the mountain with Isaac. And on the way, Isaac is asking his dad, okay, Dad, so I'm seeing the wood, I'm seeing everything else, but where's the sacrifice? And what does Abraham say? God will provide. And at that point, it's like Abraham believed that, okay, so God will provide a different sacrifice, or if I actually have to sacrifice my son Isaac and kill him, then God will be able to resurrect him. That was Abraham's faith. And so they go up there and they're making the altar, and Isaac is putting 2 and 2 and is thinking, okay, so I am the sacrifice. And remember, Isaac wasn't a kid. Isaac was like a teenager. He was like about 16 or 17 at that point. So he could have resisted if he wanted. But that just also shows how much faith and submission Isaac had to his dad. So the Bible records Abraham binds him up and he lays him on the altar, and he's out with his knife and he wants to, he's about to strike, about to, kill Isaac. And an angel of the Lord comes and says, hey, Abraham, do not harm the boy. Don't harm your son. God has already seen the faith that you have. I know that you love me more than you love your son. And they turn and they see this ram that's caught in the bush. And so Abraham tells Isaac, hey, go take that ram, bring it, we're going to sacrifice it. And so that's, they end up sacrificing the ram. And now Abraham names that place God provides, the God who provides, because he provided a substitute sacrifice for Isaac. Now, if you think about that story, it was like, wow, that story was just like incredible. Because for sure, God, by the way, remember, Abraham had been waiting for like over 2 decades for this boy. You're being told you're going to have a son when you're 77, and then this boy finally shows up when you're like 100. I mean, he had waited for Isaac, the promised kid. And then you hang around with this kid, and then now when the kid is like 17, you're being told, yeah, that son who you love, go sacrifice him. It was hard. But Abraham, the man of faith, was able to trust God and say, you know what, God, if you want me to sacrifice him, I will sacrifice him because I love you more. And I know that you had promised me that through me there's going to be descendants as many as the stars in the sky. And you said it is through Isaac. So it is either I kill Isaac, you resurrect him, or you're going to substitute Isaac for a different sacrifice. He knew that God is a man of God is not a man, but God keeps his word. And he trusted God, and God was able to provide. So it was a really difficult situation, but because of Abraham's faith, Abraham took God at his word, that even if this seemed to contradict God's promises of bringing a whole people, as many as the sand and the stars in the sky, the sand on the beach, it was contradiction. If you're killing Isaac, then where is that generation supposed to come from? But he trusted God, and because he trusted God to provide, God indeed provided. Jehovah Jireh, my provider. So right now, I know it's a time of anxiety. There's some of you who might be restless. You're wondering, okay, so now I'm working from home. How is it going to go? How am I going to provide for my family? I know some businesses are at a standstill. I want to encourage you today. God is Jehovah Jireh. The God who provided for Abraham in that seemingly hard circumstance is the God who can still provide today. He is your provider. Do you believe him? Do you believe that he can take care of your children? Do you believe that he can take care of you? Do you believe that he's still at work even in this situation? God is not taken by surprise by COVID-19. He is well aware of it. So he knows your circumstance and he is going to provide for you. Just ask him. God has told us everything to God in prayer, right? Do not be anxious, but present your petitions with thanksgiving to God in prayer, and he will give you his peace that transcends all human understanding to guard your hearts and your mind. So I just wanted to remind you today that God is your provider. Even in this situation, he's going to provide for all of your needs. So just trust him. All right? Okay, thank you so much for listening. So today the name of God that we learned was Jehovah Jireh. So stay tuned for next week when we learn the next name of God that I'd like to share with you. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to like, feel free to share this video. All right, bye.